In the next couple of videos, we're going to talk about quilting with the Little Rebel, including on the frame and off the frame. Common issues that can occur when you are quilting are things like skip stitches, thread breakage, and even nesting on the back of your quilt. So let's get started by just talking about switching your Little Rebel to quilt mode. First feature of the Little Rebel is this extension table. So to put it on, it will just slide on for you. It lifts here for easy access to your bobbin area. Underneath here in the front where you have the lines is the releaser so that you can take this off. When you do put your extension table on, be sure to keep your threads out of the way. You'll also notice at the bottom you have all of your legs here that will come out, and they are adjustable to reach the height that you want for that. One thing to remember is this is an extension table. It is not a ruler work table. So if you want to do ruler work on a frame, this is not what you want installed. There is an optional ruler work table that you can purchase for the Little Rebel. Remove the presser foot holder by loosening the screw, taking it completely off. Next thing that you're going to want to do is, if your bobbin thread is up, you're going to want to remove your bobbin. Now you're ready to put on your magnetic plate. The magnetic plate covers your feed dogs that you see here so that you get smooth movement of your quilt sandwich underneath. When you put on the quilting plate, the sensor automatically puts the Little Rebel into stitch regulation mode, indicated by the light coming on here. When in Q mode, the stitch length is controlled by pressing the buttons here, so you can increase or decrease the length of your stitches. If you want to quilt in manual mode, press the Q button, the light will go out, and now you control your stitch length by the speed of your machine. One of the nice features of the Little Rebel is it has a built-in stitch regulation sensor. It's an optical sensor, so it works a little differently than sensors that use wheels to control the X and Y movement. So let's talk about those differences. Optical regulation uses a laser to check the speed you are moving the fabric against the window. The laser shoots light to the quilt backing, which reflects back to the mirror. The time it takes the light to reflect back indicates the speed of the movement, and the machine compensates for that. When you're push quilting, if you notice suddenly that your stitches won't stay consistent, double check that your quilt sandwich is staying over the optical sensor. If it doesn't stay into contact with the optical sensor, then you're not going to get those consistent stitches. And sometimes to get to the edge of that quilt, that's time to go in manual mode as well. Some fabrics may not work well with the optical sensor due to the texture, like faux furs and minky, and some patterns that may reflect the light at different rates, like shiny fabrics. It doesn't mean that you can't quilt these on the Little Rebel, but you'll want to do that on manual mode for best results. Your Little Rebel comes with 2 hopping feet. Since we're doing push quilting, we're going to want to use the open toe foot for better visibility. Lower the presser bar and lower your needle to the lowest position using the hand crank. Use your hopping foot height gauge as a starting point, and then repeat those steps to double check with your quilt sandwich height. Do some test quilting, and if you notice that the quilt is not moving freely, then the hopping foot's too low. Make sure to adjust it just a little bit higher. If you see skip stitches or your thread breaks, oftentimes it's because your hopping foot is too high. Adjust it a little bit lower. Once you've done your test, you're ready to start quilting. Let's finish up by talking about a few other troubleshooting things to keep in mind. First, don't forget the importance of your thread tension, which we covered in previous videos, so double check that because you need to make sure you have your tension correct both in your bobbin and your top threading. Remember, it needs to be a little looser than how we have it for our typical sewing. Something else to keep in mind that tends to get overlooked as we get in a hurry to get to our quilting, and we're finding all of a sudden we're getting all this nesting and stuff underneath, is we forget to put our presser foot down. So always double check that this is in the down position because this is what engages your tensioners. Also, don't leave the machine stitching in the same place very long. This is going to cause large knots to occur in the back of your quilt and lead to thread breaking. Be sure to check the manual that came with your Little Rebel for more information on quilt mode. If you need a copy of it, you can find it on our website, graceframe.com, as a PDF under Resources and Machines. If you'd like to know more about the Little Rebel, you can check out our website, graceframe.com, or you can contact sales@graceframe.com. In our next video, we're going to talk about everything to do with on-frame quilting and the Little Rebel.